right. A lot more balloons and cash, but make sure that you pick up all of the NFTs that are on the ground. We were going to make it rain from the sky, real money, but we had to get a little bit creative because we are in the depths of a bear market. So thank you all for coming, and please don't kill yourself like I almost did 3 times with the balloon drop going up and down the aisles here. So we got a couple collectibles that you can pick up. There's a few different friendly faces on these counterfeit bills that we have. Have fun with it. And we have 5 free tickets for next year if you just follow the rules on the back. So easy to get involved, and then hopefully we'll see you again next year after we crush it this year. So for those that don't know me, I'm assuming that some people here do, or at least got the gist. I'm Ryan Selkis. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Messari. This is the second year that we've done this conference back physically in person. We've got a phenomenal slate of speakers, great group of sponsors, about 3,000 attendees that are going to be milling about over the course of the 3 days. And what this really is a synthesis of everything that we do as a company on the research side. We've got a lot of big product releases that I'm excited about. I'm not going to scoop our 2 teams that are going to be presenting tomorrow morning and Friday morning too much. I'll give you a little bit of a preview of it. But really, the narrative structure of this event is what comes next for crypto and how do we get through the bear market, right? This is my 3rd cycle from 2013 living through 2015, where I think the entire industry almost died. 2017, 2018, where we almost died as a company because the day that we formed Messari, we were the all-time high at January 3rd, 2018, and then it was down 90% for the first 11 months. We're still here, you're still here, we're thriving, and we're going to get through this again. So yeah, someone whooped, or a balloon popped, I'm not sure. But it's going to be a phenomenal 3 days, and I have never been more excited about a lineup of speakers than I am for this year's event. For those of you that are Stranger Things fans, today we are going to have a fireside chat between myself and Mr. Brad Garlinghouse from Ripple. So we are living in the upside down. Not just in terms of the charts, but in terms of what I thought we'd put on stage today. We've got CZ, we've got Brian Armstrong, we've got Vitalik, we've got Zuko, Brad, and 100 so other speakers, actually 200 so other speakers. So excited for everybody that's participating in some way, shape, or form, whether you're a speaker, an attendee, or a sponsor. I'm not sure if I'm going to have a chance to go through my themes for 2023, because we did get started a little bit late, and I want to make sure we run on time and you get to see all the other speakers. I'm going to be on stage quite a bit. So that'll get interspersed kind of throughout the remarks over the course of a couple days. But I did want to take this opportunity to at least set the stage for why we're here, and in keeping with the theme of the event, what comes next. My thesis has not changed. I don't know about yours, but crypto's here to stay. It's inevitable, in my opinion. And the thing that changed this cycle versus cycles past is the level of talent, the depth of talent, the dry powder that actually sits on all these startup balance sheets, the quality of the protocols, the scalability challenges that have been overcome, let's go Ethereum, and just the 0 to 1 innovations we've seen the last 2 years across all sorts of verticals within crypto. Like NFTs weren't really a thing 2 years ago. DeFi was not really a thing 2 years ago. Decentralized computing and kind of decentralized storage wasn't really a thing. Non-EVM chains weren't really a thing. Stablecoins were in their infancy. You add up all these things, DAOs, right, as a governance construct. None of these things were really legitimate or feasible. And we've seen major 0 to 1 innovations and then evolutions and V2s of so many of these building blocks for the future of the crypto economy that it just takes a little time. And we've seen this repeatedly from 2013 to 2017, Bitcoin kind of gaining credibility, and then from 2017 through this last cycle, I think Ethereum hit a similar level of credibility in terms of mainstream adoption, widespread attention. I think you're going to see the same thing for decentralized financial services, all sorts of digital goods, gaming, NFTs, decentralized organizations, and we're just getting started. So I appreciate you all being here, not just because you're inundated with balloons and part of my entrance song prop, but more importantly, because I know this is a group of people that's going to be here building for the next cycle. And if we had done this 6 months ago, 9 months ago, it probably would have had a different vibe. So I think it's going to be a little bit more of a chill vibe this week, but the talent density in the room and the level of builders I think that are in attendance is pretty phenomenal. Where we come into the equation, I think a lot of people know Messari for a lot of different reasons. And I want to kind of tell you who we think we are and kind of who we are under the hood, because we realized last year that there is literally a 4 order of magnitude difference between the many millions, maybe tens of millions some months, of users that access our free tools, that see the homepage, that read the newsletter, that read the annual report that we have, and that's what they think of, versus our core business, which is enterprise data, tools, and research, which is measured more in the hundreds. So if you take a step back, we have not wavered from day one as a company from our core vision for crypto data services and what it would take to actually build a juggernaut in this space that helps build institutional trust, that helps new users cross the chasm, actually feel like they know what they're doing and that they can navigate this new economy. And it really is boiled down to 2 things and this flywheel that we've built between 2 sides of the business. How do you provide institutional level, but very accessible market intelligence solutions? That's screeners, charts, APIs, the data tools that you see, the market analysis that you see on the one hand for data consumers, but then very importantly on the other hand, how do you actually standardize financial reporting for decentralized organizations, decentralized communities that don't necessarily have a top-down financial reporting infrastructure, right? Because this is all open infrastructure, it's just noisy in terms of how you access it. And so you can think about Messari as really 2 equal parts. On the financial reporting, the protocol reporting side, something that we've taken the lead on, it's a little bit like Edgar. And that's not really a sexy pitch. It wasn't really a sexy pitch back in 2018, but it's really the building blocks for everything that we do as a company. And then on the other side, if you don't have that standardization, if you don't have that high quality on both qualitative and quantitative data sets, it's going to be difficult for data consumers and folks in the industry on the other side of that to actually compare these assets, these protocols on an apples-to-apples basis and make any sense of what's going on and whether their firms can even legally get involved or feel comfortable getting involved or promoting this asset class to their customers. And the proof is in this slide, basically, in terms of how far we've come. We've got about 600 blue chip customers on both sides of that flywheel, 150 communities that are doing some form of protocol reporting with us, and then almost 500 market intelligence enterprise customers that are leveraging us for either our APIs or our subscription packages that I'll go into in a minute. As importantly, we're also trying to be pretty open and transparent about the protocol reporting that we're doing, both the KPIs for these decentralized communities and the reports themselves. And to that end, in the last quarter, we've added Bloomberg, Refinitiv from Thomson Reuters, S&P, Coinbase, and a couple of others as distribution partners. These are kind of free distribution partners where we are pushing this information out, almost like quarterly reporting that you'd expect in the public markets, for free to make sure that people have consistent, widely available information on the assets that are going to matter for this next cycle. And when you look at the homepage, I won't blame many people in this room if you're just here for the networking or you just kind of know us for one of those basic free services that I mentioned. But we're much more than just a homepage. And what I want and what I hope that folks will do during the course of these 3 days is swing by our booth, which is right in the middle of things, so you can't miss it, and actually chat with our team about some of the things that we might be able to help your companies do. We do a lot of things that don't scale. We do a lot of things that are kind of messy and gnarly, and we deal with qualitative data sets, we deal with news, we deal with different kind of off-chain events, and then of course we handle structured on-chain data and structured market data. But there's a lot of things that I think our team might be able to help yours with, regardless of whether you're at an investment firm, an institution, a protocol, and looking forward to explore some of the things that we can do. But it is pretty all-encompassing. So our mission is to be the highest quality data source for the top 300 assets in the industry. 300 is a little bit arbitrary. I like the movie 300. But it also happens to be the $100 million market cap threshold, give or take, at any given point in time. And that is more or less what I think data consumers are paying attention to. They're not necessarily, if you're a professional, looking at the number 6,000 asset by market cap or the new NFT drop. Maybe you were a few months ago, but I think that ship has sailed. But for the most part, the top 300 assets, we want pristine market data and pricing, great on-chain analytics and KPIs, deep questionnaires that cover the who, what, when, where, how of the project, events and upgrades, so the equivalent of like corporate actions, governance tracking, so you understand both what's going on and how you can participate in these emerging ecosystems, who's backing the project, what are the supply dynamics, anything that could be a social feed or social chatter on Twitter or a variety of other social media sites, or kind of curated news from the top publications in the industry. We put that in one digestible format with the algorithmic news feed that we have. And then last but not least, yes, of course, we have our thematic research, my annual report, the 30 or so analysts that are working tirelessly on our enterprise subscription research and the protocol reports themselves, these kind of quarterly equity research style coverage reports for about 40 assets in the industry right now. First, though, we are an API-driven company. Everything that you see on our site is powered by the Messari API. And that includes market data solutions that cover dozens of exchanges, many thousands of pairs, and we have one of the best real-time feeds if you've used the homepage, and you can actually see it tracking in real time, as well as some of the best supply data out there. And we get this from a combination of direct integrations, DEX integrations, and some best-in-class partners and third parties that we contract with to make sure that we have all sorts of redundancies in place. When it comes to on-chain analytics, we got a lot of news this week, and I'll share a little bit more about this in a minute, but we're going to have a full presentation on some of the new protocol metrics and data apps marketplace that we just released on Monday this week. Basically a way to standardize the data that's coming from these protocols, give people the ability to compare these different assets apples to apples, set a common taxonomy, and then ultimately pave the way for other third parties to build open data applications that are going to run the gamut from sector-specific insights to asset-specific insights, but built on a common taxonomy, almost like GAAP or IFRS reporting standards, so that we don't have 20 different services leveraging 20 different taxonomies, and you never get the same consistent result across these different assets. There's not a whole lot of good in a blockchain as an accounting ledger if everybody's got their own interpretation of what's going on in that ledger. So this is something we're trying to universalize, and I'm excited to have the team share a little bit more tomorrow. When it comes to asset diligence, most big companies are still getting from 0 to 1 on Bitcoin and Ethereum. We really come into play when you're talking about assets number 3 through 1,000. So we talk about making crypto a credible asset class beyond just 1 or 2 assets. This is something that I think we've done a terrific job of, these really deep 10, 15, 20-page reports on hundreds of assets that you can leverage if you're a product team, a compliance team, an institutional money manager that's going to have a certain duty of care to your clients, and namely that you have to show your work, right? So a lot of you folks are doing this this research in-house. You've got folks that are responsible, they're tasked with doing your own due diligence. We're a due diligence partner, whether you're talking about a listing decision, a product integration, or aftermarket support, which is what many hundreds of organizations are using right now. And this is the corporate actions framework and alerts and monitoring system that we've built called Intel, which now has tracked about 300 assets, 8,000 different events, and is getting more automated over time thanks to an acquisition that we made and announced a couple of weeks ago for an algorithmic news feed and NLP-driven, ML-driven synthesizer of all these off-chain events that are happening between Twitter, Discord, Telegram, Messenger, Pigeon, GitHub, wherever the hell these teams communicate. So we try to make sense of all the noise, organize the chaos, and ultimately put something in a format that you'd be used to if you were subscribed to S&P or Thomson Reuters feed, for an example. Governance tracking is a really important part of where we're going as a company in the next few years. Tracking what's going on with these DAOs, but also how different individuals can participate if they want to become a delegate, if they're a core community member that wants to actually receive delegated voting or authority, whether you're talking about the sub-accounting per DAO and how funds are requisitioned or how budgets are ultimately earmarked. Basically, how does a decentralized organization tick? And how do you not only track what's going on, synthesize kind of what the high impact proposals are, but then ultimately participate either directly or as a delegate, or in the case that you're a large shareholder or a large token holder of one of these organizations, how can you actually fulfill a potential fiduciary obligation that you might have to the community to the extent that regulations break a certain way? Or how do you just do the right thing if you're a large token holder and you need to be involved in some way, shape, or form, otherwise progress will grind to a halt. So a lot of exciting things here on the governance side. It's also the first direct wallet integration product that we've had. So you're going to see in the next couple of quarters more personalization tools depending on whether you plug in your Web3 wallet or whether you plug in your kind of institutional custodied wallet to actually drive some more personalized insights, whether that's the corporate actions, the customized news feed, kind of performance metrics, et cetera. We acquired Dove Metrics, which is the largest and most comprehensive fundraising database in the industry. Again, this is an August acquisition. This is something that's been very popular early on with our enterprise customers and has a level of granularity that is far beyond what you'd get from CB Insights, PitchBook, some of the other more generalist fundraising databases. And it's a perfect acquisition for us because what we really want to do as a V2 is track how supply is getting unlocked and what flows look like on a per asset basis, which is one of the gnarliest problems with disclosures that we've been confronting since 2018 when we started the company. I mentioned the algorithmic newsfeed. What's really exciting about this is much more of our updates and all of our qualitative data sets are ultimately going to be driven by NLP and machine learning in the future. There's a lot of automation that's getting built out right now. And we could not be more excited about the team that we've assembled to take this to its next evolution over the course of the next couple of years. And then finally, yes, we have great research. So we have most of our research team here. Most of the analysts are here. And I know they're excited to interact with many of you. And hopefully you'll be able to pick their brains and get your money's worth from some of the direct conversations you have with them over the course of the next 3 days. In terms of new stuff, I mentioned protocol reporting. But I'm thrilled. This is something that we unveiled in January. And from January to now, less than 9 months later, we've scaled to 40 quarterly reporting clients throughout the industry. Many of the household names, Solana, Polygon, Uniswap, Compound, Aave. We're working with the blue chip organizations and communities that are going to be here through thick and thin. And really standardizing how they're communicating with their broader ecosystems and what metrics they're tracking on a quarter-to-quarter basis. So this is the closest I think that we're going to get, short of top-down regulation, boo. Hopefully we can avoid that because I think the jerry-rig solutions that might be proposed from on high will be insufficient. But we've basically already solved this problem of what does a 10K or what does a 10Q look like for a crypto-specific organization. We're excited to double down on that, and I expect that we'll have 200 quarterly reporting customers by the end of next year. Then there's protocol metrics and data apps. Right now, there's about half a dozen on-chain analytics platforms, and you have about half a dozen results or half a dozen different interpretations of TVL or protocol revenue or what have you. Instead of building our own data silo, we partnered with the Graph for a 5-year, $12.5 million partnership to become a core developer that we announced in June, with the goal of building 200 standardized subgraphs across the top ecosystems in crypto. We've started with decentralized exchanges, decentralized lenders, and on-chain asset managers as our first slug in the first 90 days of this engagement. And I'm excited that earlier this week, we actually published our first 30 to 35 subgraphs, depending on where the 11th hour, Kramer, what we do, 35, 30? Okay, somewhere in there. Thanks. Thanks for being precise, Mike. Front and center, no support. So the team's done a phenomenal job here, and this is going to open up some really exciting things like third-party development of something like a site called Liquidated Live that I'd encourage you to check out. It is a liquidation dashboard and monitor for 8 different types of decentralized lending platforms. You can actually track liquidations in real time. It's a very simple tool with a slider. You could imagine looking at risk vaults, at-risk accounts. You could imagine layering on decentralized credit scores on top of that are accessible in real time and change in real time depending on the fluctuations in the market. So this is, I think, a V1 that is going to ultimately be transformative because third parties are going to be able to develop on this, much like you would Android versus a walled garden iOS type approach, which we think is the right way to think about this for crypto data instead of just locking everything behind one company's interpretation of what these numbers mean. And then last but not least, we're not going to die. So we're going to be around. We padded the balance sheets. I'm excited that this morning we announced our $35 million Series B, led by, thank you, yep, led by Brevin Howard Digital, BH Digital, Morgan Creek and FTX Ventures were new investors, and then we had a lot of great support from our existing investors as well, Point72, Uncork, Coinbase, Kraken Ventures, Galaxy Digital. So it is a killer lineup of folks that I couldn't be more excited to continue building with. And ultimately, it's going to allow us to keep hitting the gas and deliver more value for you folks in the room, our customers. So we're excited for the opportunity. It was a slog. I don't know if anyone else is fundraising right now, but the market is ice fucking cold. But we did it anyway. I'm just being real with you. And we're lucky to have good partners that got in at a great valuation, and they're going to look like geniuses when we go public in a few years. So with that, we are on to the main events, and these are some of the themes that we're going to cover, not in my remarks, but throughout the course of the next 3 days. So thank you again for coming. Watch your steps. Make sure that you collect all the cash and frame it and take pictures of it and hopefully take your free tickets here. So.